This is the evening news for Thursday, October 24, 2013. I am Leanna Bradshaw. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, Guyana captures 5 regional CXE awards. Textbooks cost taking a toll on Education Ministry's finances. Man dies after underneming road accident. Commerce Minister says opposition out to sabotage economy. Ramatar says commissioners for Rodney COI to be announced shortly. And 7 homeless after Metamirzork fire. And now for the news in detail. Tourism and Commerce Minister Irfan Ali says the move by the parliamentary opposition to delay the passage of the AML-CFT through their no-shows at the select committee level is a step towards stymieing the country's economic development. Here is more.
Guyana is still at the bottom of the lineup with regards to the submission of the anti-money laundering and countering the finance and terrorism legislation, and the country's financial sector is slowly falling back. Today, Commerce and Trade Minister Irfan Ali, during an interview with the Evening News, said that it would be wrong if he was to sit by and not add his voice to the tremendous implications that will befall Guyana's private sector and ordinary men and women conducting business at any financial institution.
Let us start with the ordinary men and women. Western Union transfer or any money transfer would be affected tremendously. And you know that we have remittances that comes to Guyana. So I would like to say to the ordinary men and women out there that this action by the opposition is aimed at denying them easy access to finances that relatives or they might even earn.
The minister said over the last 5 days, the ministry has received many complaints by persons seeking to conduct financial transactions between foreign institutions and Guyana. He said that the condition that will be created is ripe for capital flight, where investors locally conducting major business with overseas partners will now look to financial institutions outside of Guyana to do business. This would create a tremendous gap and reduction in terms of transactional ratios at financial institutions here. Ali argued that this will have a serious effect on the volume of transaction and even the liquidity of local financial institutions, because capital flight is a major risk of not passing legislation.
So if you put the two together and the problems that are already existing, it is clear that this can only be termed economic sabotage. And for what reason is the opposition willing to risk the economic future of Guyana, the economic future of our people, and the viability of Guyana just for political benefit?
The minister said it is clear that the opposition is on a path for economic sabotage, and this is only geared at finding an innovative way of destabilizing Guyana and the government economically. He said that the other issue is the cost of doing business, which will become huge and will be seen as a negative factor in terms of competitiveness to attract new investment. It will also have tremendous impact on the standing business indicator, which the minister said is important in relation to foreign investors and confidence in the local economy. While Guyana is taking many steps to improve its position in this regard, the country's ranking on the indicator is placed in jeopardy because of this. For the Evening News, Whitney Prasad.
Guyana has again dominated the awards for Best Regional Performances at the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate CSEC, copping 5 of the 8 awards to be presented to students who performed exceedingly well at this year's examination. Samuel Suknadan has our report.
The announcement was made by Education Minister Priya Manikchan, who stated her satisfaction with the performance of the students, noting that it is a proud moment for Guyana.
We believe ourselves to be blessed, but we also believe that we have more work to do. We want all 8 of those awards. I would like to personally say thank you to the parents of all the students that wrote, but particularly these 5 students. I would like to say huge thank yous to the teachers who have worked beyond the call of duty to get these students to the point where they are poised to contribute to the further development of Guyana.
Topping the list of awardees is Yugita Prasad of Anna Regina Secondary School, who will be presented with an award for overall outstanding achievement. Meanwhile, Rafina Mohammed from the Saraswati Vidya Niketan copped the award for most outstanding in humanities. Cecil Cox of Queen's College for most outstanding in sciences. Sasha Woodruff of Queen's College for most outstanding in business studies. And Zamina Rashid of Anna Regina Secondary School for most outstanding in technical vocational. Manik Chan said the achievements made by these students are a reflection of the investment government continues to make in the education sector.
We see repeatedly how children from all over this country are doing well, and that's because we don't treat Georgetown or the top schools any differently from we do the other schools. The fact that we have equality in our services, the fact that there's equity in the way we deliver services in this country manifests itself in results like these.
Within the last decade, Ghana has been consistently winning awards from CXC due to the excellent performance of students. Ghana has been dominating the regional awards for several years now and has copped the award for overall outstanding achievement for more than 10 years, except in 2010. For the Evening News, I'm Samuel Suknandan.
Meanwhile, Education Minister Priya Manikchan says the education system and by extension parents are struggling with the cost for original textbooks across the country. Samuel Suknandan tells us more.
Education Minister Priya Manikchan says the education system and by extension parents are struggling with the cost for original textbooks across the country.
All the people who sexily called for the copyright laws to be upheld, and we must do what they thought was legally right without addressing what was socially just. All those people should be made to face the parents that I face every single time I go out to a meeting. So the Kemraj Ramjatans and those who were calling for this because it was easy to do, let them go and face those parents and hear how they cannot access these textbooks.
According to the Education Minister, the reality is that a country such as Ghana cannot pay the sold prices for textbooks. She said it is too expensive and believes that it is a calculated cycle to have poor countries suffer the consequences. Manik Chan told media operatives that the ministry will now have to start writing its own books, noting that this process has commenced. A nursery series is near completion and will be made available online soon.
We're looking at writing our own primary textbooks. A team has already been assembled. So these are some of the things we have to do. These are some of the innovative ways we have to go about leveling these results out at a place where we'd like to see them.
Copyright violations are rampant in Guyana. Almost all parents in Ghana purchase photocopied textbooks. These pirated textbooks are widely available and they are far cheaper than the copyright-protected originals. The court had ordered that the Education Ministry procure its textbooks from the publishers directly. This has placed a severe strain on the ministry, which has seen them breaking out a substantial amount of cash to spend on these materials. For the Evening News, I'm Samuel Suknandan.
An early morning fire at Metamirzorg West Coast Demerara has left 7 persons homeless. Bishop Mohammed has the details.
The fire, which started about 9 hours 30 at the Lot 429 West Metamirzorg home, stemmed from children playing with matches minutes prior to the blaze, according to fire officials. Based on reports, the fire started in the upper flat of the house in one of the bedrooms of the 2-story old wooden building. It was completely engulfed within minutes after it ignited. Among those left homeless were 4 children who were at home at the time with their mother Anita Drapal when the fire started. They were reportedly under the house when the fire started, but despite several efforts to put out the blaze, the villagers retreat as a result of the tremendous heat. The fire tenders from the Lenora Fire Station responded to the report, but by the time they arrived, the house had already reduced to debris. At the scene, owner of the house, Philip Srots, explained what he knew of the fire while noting it is a great loss.
Well, to be truthful, me was no man. I went in the background. And when I get a message, I came home. Well, to be truthful, I got to work and then I got to look around for the light. That is the only way for me come back on my feet, because it's a great loss. You can't really tell you the exact amount right now.
However, Anita Drapal, who was still shaken, explained what occurred and disclosed the amount of losses.
I went under the house with my children. I just come from market because I just buy little greens and as walk and sell. And it's the greens I taking out and fixing up for go and sell. And my neighbor call on me and tell me fire. And by the time we run out, the fire don't take part in the house already. I had 3 fridge, I had 1 TV, 2 gas stove, 1 upstairs, 1 downstairs. I had 4 bed. 4 bed. With 2 big bed, had two sponge each on it. And I had 2 wall divider, a TV stand and a wall divider.
Police and firefighters are still investigating the circumstances surrounding the fire. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
Thank you, Bisham. Do stay tuned. More news after the break. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. President Donald Ramatar said the government has been in constant talks with the Rodney Foundation and the wife of the late Walter Rodney to have the Commission of Inquiry, COI, set up soon. Whitney Prasad has more.
President Donald Ramatar, during an interview with this newscast today, said that final steps are being taken before the actual COI into the Walter Rodney killing takes place. The head of state said that government has been in contact with the Rodney Foundation and the wife of the late Walter Rodney to fast-track the setting up of the commission. He said that already an office has been established where materials are being gathered and a decision has to be made between the Rodney Foundation and Mistress Rodney, in particular about the commissioners who will be involved.
Dr. Luncheon and Anil Nandalal are the government contact persons who are working with the family to get this moving. But I suspect that we are ready with all the. We have to just agree on the finalization with terms of reference and so forth, and then we'll be ready to gazette very soon.
A few days back, the Working People's Alliance, WPA, and the Partnership for National Unity, APNU, said their support for the Commission of Inquiry into the death of the WPA's co-founder, Dr. Walter Rodney, will be withheld until an examination of terms of reference is done. Neither the WPA nor APNU has been formally invited to participate in the commission, even as government announced that preparatory works have commenced ahead of the establishment of the COI. In September, President Ramatar, while on a state visit to the U.S., announced that preparations have begun for the international COI, stating that an office was being established and staff employed to pave the way for a successful inquiry. In June, it was noted that an international inquiry would be launched into Dr. Rodney's death with the aim of bringing closure to the issue. 33 years ago, the political activist was assassinated in Georgetown. A remote-controlled bomb exploded while on his lap as he sat in his car. At the time of his death, he was a major critic of the People's National Congress, PNC. For the Evening News, Whitney Prasad.
Christopher Wayne, 22, of Callender Street, All Boys Town, is now a patient at a Georgetown Public Hospital after he was shot to his abdomen. Around 3 hours 50 this morning, Wayne was about to enter his premises when he was confronted by 2 men on bicycles who relieved him of his cell phone, jewelry, and $12,000. As the bandits made their escape, Wayne picked up a stone with the intention of throwing it at the attackers when one of them pulled a gun and shot him to the abdomen. The Women's Progressive Organization, WPO, today acknowledged the valuable contributions made in the early stages of the organization by Jessica Huntley, who was one of its founding members. Huntley has recently passed away. The WPO recalled a comment made by Huntley when she said that the WPO stands for a better educated woman who can bring up children in surrounding of security. It stands for peace and friendship among the people of the world and for the ultimate liberation of our women from colonialism and poverty. The WPO noted that her prophetic words have become a reality in all parts of Guyana. The WPO also expressed its sincere condolences to her husband, relatives, and friends. Do stay tuned. More news after these messages. Welcome back to the evening news. Minister within the Ministry of Finance, Bishop Juan Edgel, reflecting on the work done by the People's Progressive Party Civic since its 21 years in office, said Dr. Chetty Jagan has created a platform to set Guyana on its way to development. Addressing a gathering at West Coast Demerara last evening, Junior Finance Minister Bishop Juan Edgel said in reflecting on the work of the PPPC, citizens must remind themselves of the hardships encountered in the past and ensure there is not a recurrence. He said Dr. Chetty Jagan has made the way for the development of the party and the country by extension.
You have to believe in a cause. What was Dr. Jagan's cause that he believed in? He wanted to ensure the voiceless was heard. He wanted to ensure that the downtrodden and the oppressed was properly represented. He wanted to ensure that the people of every class, including the poor and working class, was recognized and represented.
He highlighted that over the years of the PPPC rule, communities have been given the opportunity to let their voices be heard and contribute to the changing landscape of the country's development. Edgel said that because of the work of the PPPC, more Guyanese now have their own homes. Among other achievements in the various sectors, like health and agriculture, the minister also highlighted that Guyana has managed to achieve universal primary education made possible through the quality and far reaches of education government has provided.
That was a dream of the late Dr. Chetty Jagan when he started it. You know what some of his critics and detractors call it? Jagan's Night School. But 50 years later, the University of Guyana has churned out people who are serving to be presidents, ministers, high officials, people that run our regions, head our agencies. And you know what that has meant? What that means? Ordinary people, once given an opportunity, can take command of their destiny.
For the evening news, Leanna Bradshaw. Today, the 20-year-old truck driver responsible for the Coverdale smash-up made his first court appearance at the Georgia Magistrates Court. Here's more from Anara Khan.
Ritesh Bhagwandin of Lot 12, Hope, East Bank, Demerara, appeared before Chief Magistrate Priya Narayan Bihari after he was charged with 4 counts of causing death by dangerous driving. It was alleged on October 18th at Coverdale Public Road, East Bank, Demerara, Bhagwandin drove motor lorry GPP 8495 in a manner dangerous to the public, causing the deaths of Loretta Evans, Delroy Evans, Felix Mark, and Paul Muti Samaru. He pleaded not guilty to all counts of the charge as it was read against him. According to the prosecution facts, Bhagwandin was driving motor lorry GPP 8495 north along the Coverdale Public Road at a very fast rate when he overtook another lorry which was parked on the carriageway. As a result, he ended up in the path of minibus BPP 3521, which was proceeding south. The bus driver then tried to swerve east when the truck collided with the minibus. The minibus driver, Felix Mark, and Delroy Evans, who was seated directly behind the driver, were killed on the spot. 6 other persons were taken to the hospital where Loretta Evans was pronounced dead on arrival and Paul Muti Samaru succumbed to her injuries later Friday evening. Prosecutor Bharat Mangru objected to bail on the grounds of the seriousness and penalty attached to such an offence, along with the likelihood that if granted bail, Bhagwandin will not return to court to stand trial. Chief Magistrate Narayan Bihari refused bail and he was remanded to prison. The matter stands adjourned to November 15th. For the evening news, Anara Khan.
Rabindranath Sinarayan, 56, was today granted bail in the sum of $250,000 after he appeared before Chief Magistrate Priya Narayan Bihari to answer to an embezzlement charge. Sinarayan was not required to plead to the indictable charge, but stated that between February 1, 2013 and July 31, 2013, being employed as a clerk at the Metro Office and Computer Supplies, he stole the sum of $10,578,098. Attorney Yoganand Prasad, who represented the accused, said that his client is merely a victim of an internet scam and made a request for reasonable bail to be granted. Prosecutor Bharat Mangru did not object to bail, but asked for conditions to be attached. Chief Magistrate Sunarayan Bihari granted bail with the conditions that he lodge his passport and report CID headquarters every Friday at 8 hours. The Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, is working on completing a survey in Guyana that will seek to address the management of infectious waste disposal. According to PAHO WHO representative Adriana Vlugman, while the Georgetown Public Hospital has acceptable procedures of disposal, it cannot be a model for all medical facilities here. Here is more. PAHO WHO representative Adriana Vlugman said the survey conducted by PAHO on the disposal of infectious medical waste at hospitals and clinics across Guyana has proven that there has been progress, with the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation GPHC satisfying requirements in doing so.
There have been some progress over the last years. So, for example, GPHC has now an autoclave or hydroclave that disinfects the waste before it's being disposed. We're looking now also at other clinics and hospitals. Many of them have incinerators. The Montfort incinerators that were built with support from CBC, PAHO, the US Embassy, and these are able to incinerate needles.
He added that the report looks at and insists on properly built incinerators, as well as other interventions that can be applied by other medical facilities, such as those in rural areas.
It's all a matter of reaching temperature. It's not just putting fire to waste, because waste is often wet. So you have to put additional fuel to it to increase the temperatures, which have to reach at least 800 degrees Celsius. To get proper disinfection.
Vlugman said the PAHO report is expected to be completed before the end of this year. Meanwhile, in light of Quality and Infection Prevention and Control Week, the GPHC hosted a mini health fair to highlight ways in which individuals can also play their part in reducing the spread of infectious viruses, even as hospitals address their waste disposal. The PAHO representative said this can be addressed by the mere washing of hands and through the upkeep of proper hygiene. For the evening news, Leanna Bradshaw. Do stay tuned. Your sport news is after the break. Welcome back, and now for a look at your sport news in the headlines. Rugby Sevens team denied entry to NACRA. Georgetown Cricket Association launches major competitions, and a FIFA World Cup trophy set to arrive next Wednesday. And now for the details. Guyana's men's sevens rugby team has been denied entry to the upcoming North America and Caribbean Rugby Association NACRA Championships on the grounds that Guyana Rugby Football Union GRFU missed the deadline for registration, albeit by a few hours. At a press conference earlier today, GRFU executives said the treatment by NACRA is grossly unfair to Guyana. Avinash Ramzan reports.
President of the GRFU, Peter Green, says the union is shocked at the severity of the punishment over a month in advance of the tournament. He noted that the GRFU had given assurances to NACRA on several occasions of its firm intention to participate in the tournament, the last communication being less than 24 hours before the ban was imposed.
Guyana will not be participating in the upcoming North American Caribbean Rugby Association Championships on the grounds that we missed the deadline for registration. Exclusion to the championship closes off entry to the Commonwealth Games, Central American Games, and is a major blow to Guyana's hopes for Olympic qualification. Appeal to the NACRA Executive Committee and the Chairman of the International Rugby Board to the effect that the punishment is grossly unfair were turned down.
Green reasoned that a denial of entry to the tournament ignores the larger contribution of the GRFU to NACRA, which includes hosting the Central American and Caribbean Games in 2009, when no other territory in the Caribbean was prepared to do so, and putting the Caribbean on the world rugby map in Hong Kong and Las Vegas. Quizzed on the reasons for missing the deadline, Green pointed out that the answer lies in a change of rules within NACRA.
Traditionally, participating unions informed NACRA of the flights they were taking and the costs. NACRA then remitted 75% of fares in the form of a subsidy provided by the IRB to assist poor nations. This year, tournament organizer went to great pains to make clear that the flights had to be bought and proof payments submitted prior to the subsidies being paid. The reason offered being that some unions had taken funds in the past and subsequently not turned up at the tournament.
Senior Vice President of the GRFU, Mike McCormack, said the move by NACRA is a major blow for rugby in Guyana, but certainly not the end of the world.
Because not going to Cayman closes off possibilities of participating in the Commonwealth Games next year and the Central American Games next year. It's not that participation in those events is a formal qualification for getting to the Olympics, but it's the kind of event where if you do well and you get the exposure to stay with the leading pack, then your chances when the formal qualification tournament comes around are going to be much higher.
Despite the setback, the GRFU will work assiduously to assist the men's team regroup from the blow by seeking participation in one of the prestigious Sevens tournament, either in Uruguay at year-end or the Las Vegas Invitational in early February. A good showing in either tournament will allow the GRFU to apply for a wildcard entry to the CACSO Games.
The Georgetown Cricket Association this afternoon launched 2 competitions that will involve both first and second division teams. Rajiv Bisnaut attended the launch and has the details in this report.
The Caribbean T20 First Division Tournament is set to bowl off this Sunday, while the Noble House Seafood Second Division 2-Day Cricket Tournament gets underway next Saturday. The T20 tournament will attract 9 First Division clubs and will be played in 2 zones. White balls and coloured clothing will be used in the tournament. Meanwhile, the Second Division 2-Day competition will feature 14 teams aimed at developing fast bowlers and improving discipline among the city players. At the official launching ceremony held at the Maltinoes Sports Club, GCA President Roger Harper congratulated both entities for the continued support of the game in Georgetown. He said the tournaments will provide opportunities for players to showcase their talents. The former West Indies vice-captain urged the players to play the game in a true spirit and maintain proper discipline throughout both tournaments.
Clubs have been waiting with great anticipation. And now Caribbean, who has sponsored cricket in Georgetown through the Georgetown Cricket Association for a number of years. They last did the 2 days competition before Hadis took over, and they have now moved into the shorter, more exciting brand of T20 cricket. Carib has put its weight behind Georgetown Cricket Association because they think sport makes a tremendous contribution to the development of our youths in society, and through cricket in particular, they think that they have an opportunity to do just that and help to teach our youngsters about discipline, about teamwork.
Answer McCall Public Relations Officer Darshani Yusuf said that her company is happy to be part of the T20 tournament, which is a stepping stone for young cricketers.
What we hope to gain from this competition is that the young players, the players in general who are on board, will want to emulate these guys, will want to be, what these guys have been able to achieve, will want to be on the same level with them, and hopefully these guys will use it as a stepping stone to get higher. So at the end of the day, it is a form of showcasing amazing talent in Guyana, which I don't think gets in the right attention or enough attention. So when these championships come on, we are very happy to be a part of them. We are very happy to know that we are a stepping stone that people use to get higher. That's a stepping stone for talent to move from one level to the next. So that's an amazing thing. Carib has been a supporter of cricket throughout the Caribbean and in Guyana. And I'm very pleased to know that we've sponsored cricket in every single level in Guyana.
Officials of Banks DIH Limited are working feverishly to ensure all systems are in place for the grand arrival of the FIFA World Cup trophy next Wednesday in Guyana. The trophy will touch local soil for the first time, and the historic event is being facilitated by Coca-Cola, an official partner of FIFA. Avinash Ramzan tells us more.
The trophy, which is on a global tour, will arrive in Guyana at 9 hours next Wednesday at the Chedijagan International Airport, where Sport Minister Dr. Frank Anthony, Guyana Football Federation President Christopher Matthias, and high-ranking executives of Banks DIH Limited will form the core of the welcoming delegation. According to Communications Manager of Banks DIH Limited, Troy Peters, a press conference will be hosted immediately upon arrival of the trophy at the airport, following which a day of novelty events will be hosted at the Banks DIH ground Thirst Park, an event organized by the company and the Guyana Football Federation.
It's basically a customer experience. It's by invitation because of the limited time frame the trophy will be in Guyana. So it's very limited to the amount of persons we can accommodate during that time. But one of the good things is that Guyana as a country will be one of the destinations to actually host the trophy.
Peters said given the nature of the event, strict security systems will be implemented throughout the day, adding that the arrival of the trophy is a historic moment for Guyana.
So I can speak for Banks DIH and I can also speak for the country because I know it's very historic, and in fact Coca-Cola has made arrangements, Coca-Cola and FIFA, for 50 countries to be added this year. So Guyana is on the penultimate leg of the Caribbean. The trophy will be coming from Suriname to Guyana, and from Guyana it will go to Trinidad, and Trinidad will be the final stop on the Caribbean leg. But it's on a 9-month journey covering Europe, Africa, on its way to Brazil, where the FIFA World Cup football finals will be held next year.
When TVG visited Thirst Park on Thursday morning, workers were busy preparing the ground for the highly anticipated arrival of the trophy on Wednesday. The outfield has already been marked, while the painters were seen sprucing up the perimeter fence. Huge posters have already been placed on the lampposts as Banks DIH Limited looks to create a sea of red indicative of the Coca-Cola brand. Peters also used the opportunity to clarify that the trophy that will arrive in Guyana is not a replica, but the iconic gold trophy that has become the image of football for decades.
The gold trophy is not a replica. It is the real FIFA gold trophy that is presented to the winners of the FIFA World Cup finals.
The trophy is currently visiting 22 Caribbean countries, and Guyana is the penultimate leg.
Thanks, Abinash. Do stay tuned. Your Bridge Reports are next. Welcome back, and now for a look at your Bridge Reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed on Friday, October 25 at 5 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. The Berbice River Bridge will be closed on Friday, October 25 at 6 hours 50 for a period of 1.5 hours. And that's your Thursday, October 24, 2013 edition of the Evening News. I am Leanna Bradshaw. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.